Kevin Hunter with Dave Ford here on the Business Forum Show, and our special guest in studio with us is Dan Berckes from Freedom Strategy Group, and you can find Dan on the web, freedomstrategygroup.com, and give him a call at 763-421-9456. Well, we were talking about what the masses are and what the top 50% of wage earners are, and I don't think anybody would have thought that number would be $34,000 is the average income. So anybody in the top 50% that starts at that number. Let's visit about who's in the top 25%. Because
hang on one second. I want to comment on something because he was talking about the financial institutions that have the products for the masses.
Yeah.
And the masses are people that make $34,000 and less, right? So what struck me in that is the realization that the bulk of the solutions out there, the bulk of the products out there from the financial institutions are all Walmart products.
Yeah.
Walmart's geared towards the masses, right? That's who shops at Walmart, that's who Walmart markets to, and the bulk of the financial institutions are selling a Walmart product, even though the bulk of the people that are probably going to them are not necessarily Walmart people.
That's right.
They just don't know they don't know they're going to Walmart. Okay.
That's really interesting.
Just wanted to clarify that piece.
Yeah, good point.
You know, Dave, that point is where I always try to get people to realize what position they're in. People that are wealthy or that want to become wealthy are really in a small group, a small segment of the population. They think they're average, but they're not. These are people like you and I that work hard every day. They want to do well for their family, and they're wondering why they have such trouble in amassing any kind of wealth. It's not just about understanding what the masses earn and what they don't earn. It's about understanding what the enemy is in that story. Well, the enemy is, if 50% of the people in this country are earning less than $34,000 a year, they need help. Those people need help, and they vote for the help that they feel they need.
Yep.
And this whole income game relates to who's paying for those bills. And when I'm trying to help people who are either wealthy or want to become wealthy, one of the largest dangers in their world is taxation. And so if we climb that up, and I don't know where we ended on the last conversation
50.
about how high that we get. So if the top 50% of earners are only earning $34,000 and up, well, what are the top 25% earners earning? Well, the top 25% are earning $69,000 a year. That's the top 25% of families in this country are only earning just $70,000 a year. That's mind-boggling, again, for the top 25% of earners in this country.
Well, what's scary about that is that 75% of the population makes less than $70,000 a year.
Exactly.
And that's 70% of the voting population makes less than $70,000 a year.
So if somebody's running for office, the more they say they're going to give to people, the more likely they are to get a vote. And that's 70% of the population out there going, what can you give me?
Correct. Because I don't have enough because I'm poor.
Yeah. I want to be one of the people riding in the wagon, have somebody else pull it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that the top 10%. You kind of blew this just a second ago and gave this number, but what's the top 10% at?
Yeah, you're right. I did blow it. The top 10% are earning $169,000 and up. That's what the top 10% of earners are. And ironically, when I visit with people who are either wealthy or want to become wealthy, they all think that they're not the wealthy, but they're in the top 10%.
Right.
And when you climb that all the way up to the top, so I'll go right to the top 1% of earners, those people aren't earning the tens of millions that most people think, because the top 1% is only earning $369,000 per year as a family. All right? I know a lot of people that are earning in that area that don't feel that they're part of the uber-rich crowd.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Right? So where did this all relate? This relates to the problem with this. So if the financial institutions are catering products to the masses, and we're talking about if you have an income that is not at all average, but you have an income that is seen as the rich and the wealthy would have, what percentage of the overall taxes do you think that you're paying if you're in the top 10% of earners in this country? What percentage?
It's a big chunk.
Yeah, it's a big chunk.
I don't know. It's a big chunk.
Well, we cheated. We know the answer. We were talking about it earlier.
So
it's ridiculous that it's 40%.
Right. The top 1% of earners are paying 40%
Right.
of all of the taxes collected in this country.
Mm-hmm.
Now, where's the fair in that? So you always hear in the political world that they should pay their fair share.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's the fair share when 1% of the population is paying for 40% of the entire collection in the country?
Well, but I think it's even worse when you get to the next level, where it's the top 50% of the country is paying 97.5%.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and that really is the key to understanding the danger. If you're in the top 50% of earners, which is really most of the people listening to anything that they're looking for education, that they fall in that top 50%.
If you're making $50,000 a year, you're part of the group of people that's paying 97% of the taxes in this country.
Yes.
And that's literally everybody listening to this show, because anybody who is smart enough to go to listen to Business Talk Radio to begin with is making at least $34,000 a year.
Yeah,
Right.
correct.
Yeah.
So the number one enemy that I'm trying to get people to understand is that if you're trying to amass wealth in any fashion, you have to find a way to protect your money from taxation.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to do it in a way that is not built in the common knowledge that's being given by the financial institutions today.
Because the financial institutions are all Walmart selling the same product to everybody. You need a much different product.
There's a comment that I always make on this subject, and it's so pertinent. So many people get up in the morning and they try to do what they believe is the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're all trying to do the right thing financially. But what's happening is that people are only using the knowledge that they've been given and the knowledge that they've heard somewhere along the line in the mass media.
Mm-hmm.
That information might be true. However, if what you thought was true turned out not to be true, when would you want to know it?
The sooner the better.
I would think right now.
And for some people, they don't want to know at all.
That's for sure.
Kevin Hunter with Dave Ford here on the Business Forum Show. Our special guest has been Dan Berckes. You can find him online at freedomstrategygroup.com. Again, that's freedomstrategygroup.com. And his contact number is 763-421-9456. Again, 763-421-9456. Kevin Hunter with Dave Ford here on the Business Forum Show. Our special guest is Dan Berckes. Thanks for listening.